What's going on, everybody? We're just a few days away from BlizzCon 2023, and if you're keeping track, that's 4 years since we've had an in-person BlizzCon. The last one was in 2019, and that's when we got the big reveal of Diablo 4. And over the last couple weeks, I've been paying attention to all the information that Blizzard's been putting out and all of the information that they haven't been putting out. So today, I want to go through my observations, my predictions, and possibly some of my disappointments in what's going to happen at BlizzCon. And I'm pretty excited for BlizzCon because this is my first time going in person, so I really hope I'm not disappointed. All right, so first up, let's talk about what's going to be a little bit different between this year's BlizzCon and previous years. So in previous year's BlizzCon, they would give us a list of all of the different panels that were happening across all of the halls at BlizzCon. There would be 4 or 5 halls, and each of them having their own different panels on them. If you were live in person, you could pick which ones you wanted to go to, and if you were watching online, you could choose the ones that appealed to you, and then go back and watch any ones that you missed later. This year, however, it looks like all we're getting is one broadcast schedule, which is going to be from the BlizzCon arena. I've never been before, but I'm pretty sure this is the first time they've done the opening ceremony and all of the panels from the BlizzCon arena. But looking at the schedule, it looks like they're getting rid of a lot of the extra panels, like the sound design, the voice actors, the art design. So if you look at some of the previous schedules, you'd see stuff like this, like the Pylon Show Live, Stay a While and Listen, the Writer's Room, Building the Worlds of Azeroth. You get Designers at Work, World of Warcraft World Creation, Artists at Work, World of Warcraft Developer Tales, Codecraft, Exploring Blizzard Engineering. So there were all these additional panels that you were able to watch that might not have been the meat and potatoes of BlizzCon, but it was cool that they had it. This year, it seems like they're really trimming down the fat, so 11 o'clock this Friday, November 3rd, we're getting the opening ceremony. That's where they're going to make all their big announcements, all the expansions, all the new patches, possibly new game announcements, we don't know for sure yet. So a few hours later, we'll get the World of Warcraft What's Next panel. That's going to be at 1:30 p.m. So this is going to go a little bit further into the announcement that they just made and give us a general overview of all of the new features. If they're giving us any new classes or races, they'll probably talk about those. They'll go over the broader scope of the game and what we can expect moving into the next expansion. An hour after the World of Warcraft panel, we're going to be getting Overwatch 2 Deep Dive. So admittedly, I'm not a big first-person shooter player, but I do know a little bit about Overwatch and how heavy they are into all their different heroes. So it's very possible we're getting a new hero, maybe some new maps, maybe a new mode or two. So for people who are excited about Overwatch, you'll want to tune in there. Then at 3:30 p.m., an hour later, we're getting the WoW Classic What's Next. So that definitely suggests we're getting something new to World of Warcraft Classic, whether that's Cataclysm or maybe the highly speculated Classic Plus, which could be a couple different things. I've heard a lot of people talking about that could be similar to the Season of Mastery or like Diablo seasons, where every couple months they do like this new arcadey style of World of Warcraft with different gimmicks each time. I've heard people talk about what could happen if the Dark Portal never opened and we got a vanilla classic like expansion that took place on Azeroth. I've also heard some people say maybe it's if the Cataclysm never happened and it's a new expansion post Lich King. All of those could be possible. Then at 4:30, we're getting the Hearthstone What's Next, so probably a new expansion there. I haven't played Hearthstone in several years, but I'm happy that they're still around. And then at 5:30, we're getting Warcraft Rumblings, which is surely going to talk about the new mobile game, Warcraft Rumble, which is kind of like a Clash Royale type game, sort of, but not really. I believe they called it a tower offense game. So that's what we're getting on Friday. So now let's look at Saturday. At noon, we start off the day, or do we, with the WoW Deep Dive. So that's going to break down the stuff that they talked about the previous day and really go into the nitty gritty. Talk more about the dungeons and the lore and the little mechanical stuff that's going to make the expansion feel a little bit different than previous stuff. And then an hour and a half later, we're getting the Overwatch 2 What's Next, which is interesting because for World of Warcraft, we got the What's Next on Friday and the Deep Dive on Saturday. Overwatch, we're getting the Deep Dive on Friday and the What's Next on Saturday. So I'm not really sure what the thinking there is, but hopefully it's cool for you Overwatch players. And then the panel that I'm the most excited about currently is the 2:30 panel on Saturday, which is the Diablo 4 Campfire Chat. If you know me, you know I'm a Diablo guy. I like WoW too, but Diablo is my main game. Really excited to find out, what are we getting for Diablo 4? Are we getting the expansion? They teased yearly expansions, so it feels right to get the expansion announcement, probably for something like next June. They could also talk about Season 3 of Diablo 4. I would be a little hesitant to announce Season 3 already, only because they announced Season 2 early, and that kind of killed any buzz that Season 1 had. Admittedly, Season 1 wasn't nearly as good as Season 2 is, so maybe that was a bigger part of it. But hopefully, if they do announce Season 3, it doesn't kill off the excitement that people have currently about Season 2. Because if you haven't played it, they made a lot of improvements to Diablo 4. And then at 4:45, we're getting community night, which is probably going to be like the cosplay tournaments and that kind of stuff. And then at 6:15, we have the closing band, which is, I'm going to butcher this, La Seraphim. I'm not sure. I know that it's a Korean girl group, and, hopefully people like it. I got to be honest, it's not my vibe, but, I'm sure it's somebody's. So another thing that's very noteworthy here is at the bottom, live streaming on Blizzard's YouTube and Twitch channels. So they're ditching the BlizzCon.com thing, which is probably why we're just getting the one stream for everything here, is because they just want to have one feed going out to YouTube and Twitch. They don't want to have to juggle with multiple channels and deal with all that. I totally understand it. I just hope that it doesn't feel like a half-baked BlizzCon. So there's been a couple things on the schedule, though, that have caught my eye that I do want to stop and pause on. November 3rd, this Friday, we have the opening ceremony at 11 a.m., and the WoW What's Next at 1:30 p.m. That's a 2.5 hour window. Now, historically, I don't think the opening ceremony has been 2.5 hours. Now, it is very possible that they're just leaving a gap in between to set up stuff for the other panels, or they could have some surprise panels in there. What could they be? I don't know. What do we not see? We don't see either RTS games represented. We're not seeing Warcraft 4. We're not seeing StarCraft 3. Those probably aren't going to happen, although there have been some rumors that StarCraft 3 is in development. We also don't see anything for Diablo 2 Resurrected or Diablo Immortal. And we also don't see anything for the upcoming survival game that we know Blizzard's working on, which personally, as a huge Valheim fan, I am super excited about. So any of those could fit in that slot. Do we see any other gaps on the schedule? We do. On both days, the doors open at 10 a.m., and on Friday, the opening ceremony is at 11 a.m. So on Saturday, we don't see the first panel until noon. So that does give us a potential hour or two before the WoW Deep Dive where we could have another game there. And also, the Diablo 4 campfire chat takes place at 2:30, and the community night doesn't start until 4:45, which leaves 2 hours and 15 minutes. Now, it's very possible that the community night just needs a little bit extra time to set up, so I'm going to assume there's not going to be a panel there, but it is possible for maybe a short one. And another thing that was announced for both World of Warcraft and Diablo 4 is that Q&A wasn't going to be happening in the live format that it has at previous BlizzCons, which I think we know why.
Hey, just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
So that's a little disappointing because it is fun to get that interaction between the crowd and the developers. But the way that they're going to be handling it this time is for Diablo, they're going to be taking questions in some kind of box in the Diablo Hall on day 1 of BlizzCon, and then they're going to be answering those questions at day 2 of BlizzCon during the campfire chat. And then for World of Warcraft, they're going to be taking questions at BlizzCon and via forum threads, but they're not going to be answering those until a live stream after BlizzCon. So I did notice that today they updated their map, so I'm guessing they actually got the pieces in play at the convention center, and now they're able to show us exactly how it's going to look like because they know. So I was going through this map, and a couple things kind of jumped out at me, and one in particular, which was if you jump into the World of Warcraft section, you got the Darkmoon Fair, you got the Corridor of Time, you got Champion's Rest, you got Rumblemania. I don't know what a lot of this stuff is, but you have demo area, demo area, demo area. Then you go over to Overwatch, demo area, demo area. Then you got the esports arena where they're going to have the Overwatch World Cup. Then you get to the Diablo section, streamer gameplay, but no demo area. So I was really hoping to get a hands-on, but I was not one of the lucky few to be considered for the streamer gameplay. Maybe next year? But does that mean that we're not going to have a playable demo at BlizzCon? Is it just going to be the streamers who get to try it out and broadcast it for everybody else, and everybody else is just going to have to watch? A little unfortunate. I was hoping to get some hands-on time, but that's neither here nor there. And then you see other stuff like the Tree of Whispers and Glass Cannon and the Herodric Library, which I don't know exactly what those are going to be. I'm guessing it's just stuff for us to check out and look at when we're there, take pictures with, and that kind of stuff. But, I'm excited to check it out. A tarot card reading. Maybe I'll get a tattoo while I'm at BlizzCon. Who knows? But yeah, generally, I'm super excited about BlizzCon. I do worry a little bit that it's going to be less panels, and did I mention it's also more expensive than previous BlizzCons, which kind of feels weird. When they first announced the prices, I'm like, oh man, it's the first one that they've done in 4 years in person. They're going all out. There's going to be a ton of panels, a ton of stuff to do. Hopefully, I do feel that way once I'm there, but I do question how deep it's actually going to be. For me, I'm really hoping for a really cool Diablo 4 expansion announcement. I've seen the leaks, whether they're true or not, I don't know. Potential spoilers, so earmuffs if you don't want to hear it. I did talk about the potential leaks on my live stream and the Spiritborn class that's been rumored, the Glaven Shield class. The class itself sounds fine, but the name Spiritborn doesn't really get me excited because I don't know what that is. In Diablo games, usually we have a pretty good idea what things are. Barbarian? Yep. Paladin? Sure. Monk? Uh-huh. Sorcerer? Yeah. Witch Doctor? Okay. But Spiritborn, I don't know what that means. So if that is what a new class is called, hopefully they have a good way to really sell me on it, because right now I'm not sold. The rumored features are Rune Words and Mercenaries. Rune Words were super popular in Diablo 2. Mercenaries we had in Diablo 2 and Diablo 3, and they were welcome additions, so I would love to see them in Diablo 4. What else they might announce, I have no idea. Hopefully it's exciting. I'm also hoping for a really exciting WoW announcement. I generally do play new expansions for retail, although admittedly a lot of my friends have quit, so I don't really play that long. I'll usually play the first couple weeks of a new expansion. Maybe if something else really exciting gets announced, I'll come back for a week or two. But I would love for an expansion to really get me back into WoW, because I do love the game. It's felt a little samey over the last couple expansions, so I would love for a bigger shakeup this time. I know the leaks and rumors that have come out haven't looked super exciting for it, but a lot of that stuff, to me, looked kind of AI generated, probably fake. We'll find out in a couple days here. And I'm excited to get back to live streaming to talk about all this stuff with you guys after the convention's over. So if you don't already, make sure to follow me over on Twitch or TikTok, where I live stream pretty regularly. Anyways, thank you guys for watching.